needs to be taken seriously. And in that light, as it kind of comes back to the United States of America, the matter of what's our role in it? What's our responsibility? Do we have one? I'd argue that some of the drumbeat I hear is, let's just come back home. Let's just disengage. Let's let the world sort itself out, and then we'll just see what happens. And this matter of a world's policeman, that's probably a bad term. It's used extensively in the press and people talking about it. But I believe we have a role. I believe the United States of America, right, wrong, or different, good, bad, we don't do everything right. We understand that. And as I travel around and talk to our international partners and our brothers, sometimes they're quick to remind me of that. But by and large, the United States of America really is a force for good. I mean, our heart is in the right spot. We want to help out, and I would argue that we were probably the only country in the world that has the resources and the capability to be able to do some of this that others can't. We're at a point now where our teammates, our coalition partners, and while there are many, there are really only a handful that can be relied on consistently day after day. And some of them are in the audience here today. So the new world, not the new world, the world that we are in, not the one we are projected to be in, but the one we are in, ladies and gentlemen, is real. I think it's dangerous. And I think that we as a nation have a role in that world, whether we like it or not. I've made a comment for the last 3 years at most the end of my remarks as I talk about this. We may think we're done with all these nasty, thorny, tacky little things that are going on around the world. And I'd argue if you are in that nation or you're in part of that, it's not a little tacky little thing for you. We may view it as on this side of the Atlantic or the Pacific. It's a big deal for them. But we may think we're done with them, but they're not done with us. And so what is...
Well,
okay, and then the last part would be as it relates to comparing Iraq to Afghanistan, and if we did the same thing in Afghanistan that we did in Iraq, pulled out, that am I afraid that the same thing might happen? Okay.
Okay, so yes, over to you.
Oh, okay.
Sorry to bombard you with so many pretty hard questions, but very good ones.
Okay, I'm going to come back to FID here in just a second, but the second part of your question is, yes, I am concerned about that. Two different nations, completely different cultures, two different educational, cultural, educational. It's just two complete nations, different. But I think the common denominator is, I find it hard to believe, knowing how Iraq looked when we left in 2010, when we left the Marines, and then what it looked like when the last U.S. forces left, that we would be in the position we're in today in Iraq had we had the right forces, the right leadership, the right mentoring, the right government encouragement, all the things that you think of that just kind of make sense. Again, not combat forces. Iraq didn't need combat forces when we left. They were trained up. But I have a hard time believing that had we been there, that and working with the government, and working with Parliament, and working with the Minister of Defense, the Minister of Interior, and the governance, and the rule of law, all that stuff, that I don't think we'd be in the shape we're in today. That's just my personal opinion. So I do think that were we to go to the zero option in Afghanistan, which was a possibility until the president made his latest decision, that I think there's a very good chance that something similar, again, different nations, different cultures, would have happened in Afghanistan. So that's the first thing. And the first part of the question, air-sea battle,